Welcome to Mission Online. My name is John. I'm our lead pastor, and Happy New Year to you guys. Hopefully your Christmas was amazing. And today is a unique day. What we do every year, the last Sunday of the year, is give the last Sunday as a gift to our volunteers. 291 people, all ages, serve regularly to make our weekend services happen. So we say, hey, stay at home, cook a big breakfast, get in your pajamas, or hang out with neighbors or roommates and check out Mission Online. Some really important things coming up for our church family. Want to make sure that you have these in your calendar. Starting on January 10th is a brand new 4-week teaching series called Do Family Better. And if you're anything like me, you just know that there's room for improvement. Also, if you're single, and there's a lot of really, really amazing singles in our church that make our church better and healthy, this content will apply to all your relationships. So whether you're in a family, married with kids, without kids, single, would like to get married, or whatever, this 4-week teaching series will be really, really instrumental in all of your relationships. Next Sunday, the first Sunday of 2016, we'll have a standalone service, and the content will be mainly around how do we get off to a good start in 2016. Also want you to be aware of, just under this video is an opportunity for you to finish well and start strong from a financial standpoint. We talk about this all the time, and it's just really important. The month of December is essential for us to really stay on budget for all of this fiscal year. So I would just encourage you to finish well and to start strong financially. Last thing I'll say before we get started is we decided this year to pull together some of the key moments that marked us as a church. Different teaching snapshots we've put together into one sermon. And before we move into 2016, we want to stop and remember all that God did in 2015. And my hope and my prayer is that you'll lean in, and even through these next few moments, you'll be reminded of some of the things God spoke to you as we gathered together as a church. Again, Happy New Year. We'll see you together on January 3rd. Until then, enjoy Mission Online.
Chapter 1, the honeymoon phase. No, I gotta tell you, I take real exception with that phrase, the honeymoon phase. See, because that indicates that the honeymoon at some point comes to an end. Well, not in my book. Literally, not in my book.
And the second thing, and this is what got me really excited this week, was that this verse in Ephesians 4 does not end with, do not let destructive words or unwholesome words come out of your mouth, the end. There is more. There is so much more. For those of us that are Christians, it is so much more than just don't do all the wrong things. But it goes on to say, but words that will build others up, that it may benefit those that listen. And I love this because it's saying not only don't do this, but understand this tool you've been given and let it be an avenue that God uses to bless. Not just don't tear down. Use this tool to build up. Not just don't speak death. Speak life-infused words that will create value and strength in the people that you're speaking to. And more than anything, I think what it's getting at is that our words as Christians are meant to be a means of grace in the people that we are with. And we read this passage in the NIV version, which is accurate, but I actually loved reading it in the ESV version, and I wanted to share it because I feel like in that version it gets most closely at what it's saying to us. And it says, let no corrupt talk come out of your mouths, but only such as is good for building up as fits the occasion. And then here it is, that it may give grace to those that hear. That the words of our mouth, we would have a vision that not only they will not be destructive, but that as we open our mouth, actually grace from God is poured into the lives of others. Our words have that potential. And again, this is a heart issue. So the more that God's grace is taking up root in our hearts, the more we will be quick to speak these grace-infused words into others.
Honestly, I've been surprised at how much love I have for Joshua. And not that I didn't expect to love him, but I always wondered, is there going to be a difference in my heart between the way that I think about Evan, who's my biological son, and the way that I think about Joshua? And there isn't a difference, I can honestly say. And it's been surprising because before I even knew Joshua, my heart was already breaking for him. and to just love him and care for him. And then now that he's in our family, he's my son. He's not my adoptive son. He's my son. And then I translate that to my relationship with God. And it's staggering because God doesn't see us as his adopted sons, his second-class sons. He sees us how he sees Christ, his own son. And it's hard to accept sometimes because it's amazing that God would love us that much.
John Kavanaugh got on a flight and he flew all the way to Calcutta to talk to one lady. Anyone want to guess who she was? Mama T, yeah, Mother Teresa, the bomb. And so he's like, if I could just talk to Mother Teresa, I just feel like somehow she will help me discern what I need to give my life to. And so there is John Kavanaugh talking to Mother Teresa. And I love the way the story unfolds. Mother Teresa walks up to him and she says, how can I serve you? Of course she said that. Of course she said that. How can I serve you? And he's like, this is my moment. He said, well, kind of explained everything. I'm on this kind of journey, really trying to discern what I'm supposed to give my life to. The way that you can serve me, would you just pray for me that while I'm here, I will get clarity on what I'm supposed to give my life to? And you know what Mother Teresa said? No. Not going to do it. I won't pray for that. John, I will not pray that God will give you clarity. I will pray that you will learn how to trust him. How do we suffer well in the land between? It's through trust. It's through this relentless, active kind of trust. What does it look like for us to suffer well in the land between our present sufferings and this promise, this future glory? It is built on trust. And what I've been asking the Lord is, all right, what are the things then within trust that I need to be convinced of? And so what we're going to do today in the next 2 weeks, I'm going to talk about the 6 things that I think are like the 6 irreducible minimums to trusting God. And if we can trust him with these 6 things, we will walk well in the land between. We will give him glory in the land between. We will keep moving with the one that has adopted us. The resurrection emptied the grandstand. That's what it did. See, for far too long, the church has become a community of consumers, especially the American church. We consume and we show up and we watch one guy that has the mic do his thing. And that's good. We need to show up and we need to gather. We need to be under anointed teaching. But that was never the full vision. The full vision has been since Acts that they would be this priesthood of all believers, that there would not be a sideline. And the resurrection emptied the grandstand. No more watching. No more watching. No more just watching the trained professionals do all the ministry. No. According to the early church in the book of Acts, we see that the resurrection emptied the grandstand. They got in the game. They showed up like this. They said, man, what can we do? What can we give? The grave is empty. It's changed everything. It's changed everything. I've said it now for 3 weeks in a row. They had this resurrection-centric worldview. That was the lens that they saw and interpreted everything through. It was the resurrection, and so the resurrection was what they talked about all the time. Make no mistake, the resurrection and their resources were connected. The resurrection, and then what that meant for their resources, those 2 things were connected.
decided to do it. I decided to go ahead, sign up. I went down, grabbed a t-shirt, and I was excited. Leading up to that 9:30 Mass, I was thinking about how far back in all my life that I've never been set free. I've never been set free of what I've done in the past, who I've become in the past, all the people I've harmed, just the dirty, nasty things that nobody wants to hear, nobody wants in their past, I couldn't come to terms with it. That day leading up to that and walking up onto that stage, I look back at my family, all my children are sitting there, and I look back at them, and I looked up at the holy hot tub, and I knew that was it. As I take this walk, this is the end of that man, that past.
It was just a culmination of doing life together, telling my story, opening up at Jim's pace. Week after week, having discussions, trying to get past the busyness of both our lives to say, let's make time to wrestle with some of these questions that were popping up as Jim was learning more about God and Jesus and the gospel and everything he'd be hearing on Sundays. And I'll never forget when the whole idea of baptism came up and sitting down with Jim on his couch and just laying out what that looked like and what it meant to be a follower of Jesus and seeing him receptive. And then that final day when he looked at me and said, Jason, I'm ready.
There's three people in this room, three types of people, and I want to go through this pretty quick. Three types of people in this room. There are those of you, all right, I'm not mad at you, but there are those of you that are off mission. I have a picture for this. You're off mission, and here's what that means. You're here probably because of that. You came because you're looking for purpose in your life, and that is a great thing, and God has brought you here. All right, you're off mission. You can't remember the last time you really gave yourself for the benefit of others. You're off mission. We started this church, and we named it Mission Church to help people not stay off mission, but to get on mission. All right, so some of you, you're on mission, right? You are on mission. You're serving, and you're giving yourselves to God's work in many different ways. You're on mission. But there's a third group of people that are in this room, and you're not off mission, you're not on mission, but you are of mission. And I wanted to show you this picture, and hopefully you can take a screenshot of it, and I want you to ask this question for the rest of your life. As of today, where are you? There's going to be moments where you drift between all three of these. There'll be days where you are off mission. There'll be days where you are on mission. Then there's going to be days where you are of mission. And let me tell you, when you are of mission, you decide where you live differently. When you are of mission, you don't do things like party in the park because your pastor asked you to. When you are of mission, crossing the street is no longer a program or activity of the church. It has become your identity because it was his. And you and I, we have been saved, yes, but we have been sent by our sending God. Are you off, on, or of?
Every day we take steps. We step out of things. We step over things. We run towards things with urgency. We walk away from things regretfully. We step up to things with purpose, and we step in things accidentally. We even count our steps. And of all the steps we take, the most important steps are the steps we take into things. Things like moments, experiences, responsibilities, and even relationships. These steps don't just check boxes on a list. Instead, they change us. Steps matter. What will you step into next? And if you remain a guest, I'm just telling you, you are on a dead-end road that leads to nowhere. Here's why. Because if you remain a guest, you will continue to be left hungry, because you will continue to chew on and feast on things that run out, like our music, like our vision, like our teaching, like Mission Kids. It does not satisfy. Only Jesus does. And so what you need to do is make the shift very practically from guest to contributor. And you need to take the things of Jesus that are becoming alive in you, and you need to, as we talked about last week, you need to express a faith that is expressed through love for God and for others. And if you are on this hillside called Mission Church, and if you are just sitting still, for some of you for years now, you need to get up. You need to pick up your basket of bread, and you need to start climbing the hill with us, because there's a bunch of us that are doing it, because there are more people coming, and we cannot sit in these seats and remain guests. We need to become contributors to what Jesus started. A lot of you guys got this Steps Matter card. If you didn't, you can get them on the way out. There's a Steps Matter space. Mark will talk about it again in a minute as we close the service. If you know that you're a guest, don't be ashamed. Mark that you're a guest on here. There is nothing more beautiful than someone who's aware. This is the most beautiful thing. Just say, yeah, I'm a guest. Don't hide it. Come out of hiding and just say, I'm a guest, and let's have a conversation. Take this to Steps Matter, turn it in. Even if it's your 50th time here, if you are not contributing to this church, just say, you're a guest. We love you. We want to help you take steps.
Caleb, single-minded, wholly devoted, conviction-guided, legacy leaver, mundane crusher, promise believer, step taker, unknown embracer, God truster, fear facer, faith stretcher, hill taker. There are two kinds of people in this world, hill retreaters and hill takers. The choice is yours.
But in that moment, a hill taker by the name of Caleb steps up to the mic. And it says in Joshua 14, as we just read, he said, no, I brought back a report according to my convictions. He was conviction guided. He was conviction guided. While the others only saw opposition, this conviction guided warrior of God saw opportunity. He was conviction guided. And here's my first question: what is guiding your steps? Are you guided by only your emotions? Or are you guided by your convictions? This week I was just reflecting on the truth that convictions eats emotions for breakfast, right? There are hills before you. There are places that God has promised you. There is a land that God longs for you to inherit, the kingdom of God, where there is all kinds of spiritual fruit. God has promised these things to you, yet we become kind of emotionally guided instead of conviction guided. Caleb, he was a guy that stepped up to the mic and he said, surely we can take this land. He was a hill taker.
Thank you for watching Mission Church Online. It's our prayer that this message both challenged and inspired you. We hope you will join us in redefining what church could be in your life by taking a next step. Whether that's sharing this message with a friend, joining us live next Sunday, or requesting prayer by emailing us at prayer@wearemission.com. We believe that these are moments that can lead to movement.